Just when you thought your day really sucked.
You suck!
Here comes something to make it suck even more. It's a Lamont and Tonelli podcast.
Paul, you're like a proud parent here today.
Well, I don't know about that, but we do have a lot in common. We have Al Madrigal in the studio.
Yeah.
Probably know him from, I guess, the Daily Show.
Right.
Among other things.
Playing, by the way, let me get a plug in. Playing Cobb's Comedy Club.
Yes, let's do that before we start talking
You are there.
specifics.
You are there tonight and tomorrow as well. Two shows.
Two shows.
Tonight. Okay.
Cobb's graduated to the big boy room. I started doing stand-up here in the city.
Yeah.
And walking between the old Cobb's and the Punchline. I was living in North Beach on Grant between Chestnut and Lombard.
Right.
I would walk in between the two clubs, and now Big Cobb's, where Wolfgang's used to be, is like the cool, like, big boy room. So
That is the big boy room. And now I like the fact you grew up in San Francisco.
Inner Sunset, 15th between Irving and Judah.
Hold it. Now, Shasta, is that where the fire was this morning?
Well, we had a big fire in the Ocean View area.
Yeah.
It was on Bright and Randolph. Do you know where that is? He had a really good locator that
now
you might
Paul,
be aware of.
tell him your locator.
Yeah,
for
the
fire.
former Fairlane Market. Actually, it was right across from Norman's Liquor Store. You had your choice of the two. So if you're a kid in the city looking to buy beer before you were 21,
is that where you bought your booze?
it was
before
either Norman's Liquor or Fairlane Market.
Liners Liquors on Divisadero on Lake Street. I used to lie and say I would dress up like an art. This is really true.
Yeah.
I would dress up like a guy at the Foreign Language Institute that was over, and I would go into high school. I would dress as in military stuff.
Yeah.
I go, how you doing? Me and the guys are playing poker over there at the military, and they knew it was close by.
Yeah.
And I would just had this running thing, and I would dress older and walk in. Yeah, we got the cards. I'm gonna get a deck of cards, and then I need how many cases of Bud Light? Need 3 cases of Bud Light. We're gonna be good. We're partying. We're gonna have a little party up there.
That is classic.
Now, do you think maybe the guy knew you were underage, but just you entertained him to
I
the
was
point?
so committed to the bit that it was like I would take acting opportunities wherever they would come. So at Liner Liquors, we used to, and that's when the Beastie Boys' Brass Monkey came out.
Right.
And so that's what we'd go in, and that was like pint. It was horrible. Just you would buy Brass Monkey at Lions, so just bottles of Brass Monkey, and they're playing the song, and I'm in high school at some party.
That stuff tastes like rusty nails, I guess, huh?
We're ruining some, Pacific Heights dad's house who's up in Napa. We would go, because I was a kid from the Inner Sunset District,
Right.
so we'd go to all these parties
Yeah.
that were in, like the kids went to university, and the SI guys would come in, and I was part of there was the SI, at St. Ignatius, where I went to high school, had like socioeconomic diversity, where you had kids from the wrong side of the tracks,
Right.
and I was like the Inner Sunset SDI kids.
Yeah.
And then you had the Pacific Heights kids. And
Right.
so then we'd go over to Pacific Heights and like a university party or something like that, and we were the bad boys. So we go in. So I think my buddy knocked over. It was horrible. Like we were the punks.
You
And
were
then
the bad actors.
Yeah, and then we'd walk down to Stern Grove and get our butts kicked. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now, you went to St. Ignatius. That's where Paul went to school.
Correct.
Obviously, you guys graduated different years.
Oh, boy, did we ever.
But I'm reading something here that said you had to wear a sailor suit to school.
Because I went to NDV. I went to Notre Dame.
on Bush Street.
Pine between
What,
Grant
they
and
made you
Sunset.
wear sailor suits?
That's where you see the little kids in the French sailor suit. It was what first bit in my act.
Yeah.
I think I
Because
was
it's
like,
a French school kind of a deal, right?
I go, you grow up real quick, half Mexican in a sailor suit, like taking the cable car, like with a Lollapalooza.
Oh, you had to hop on the cable car wearing your sailor suit?
Dude, we would go. I rode.
Oh my God.
So this is pre-Kevin Collins.
Yeah.
I would go to take the NJU 45 minutes downtown.
Right.
And
In your sailor suit.
In my sailor suit. And then we would, this is when the guys also, we'd get on the cable car. Sometimes we'd get off at Powell if we were running early.
Right.
And they'd let us push, they'd let 8 kids in sailor suits push the cable car.
Oh, at the cable car turnaround
and
thing.
let it get going. The guy got a kick out of it. He would never, they'd let it go, and we'd all run like we were in Indiana Jones and jump onto it.
Well, that's got to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah, never. Now they're charging like $8, and they're never going to let you on. Now, at Westlake like Joe's, what do you order? That's what I want to know.
I usually get the steak alla Bruno with rigatoni.
Okay. Because
What do you want?
I go roast lamb with ravioli on the side,
Yeah.
and maybe an extra ravioli for the table.
Well, you got to get the extra ravioli. You dialed it, and an order of garlic bread.
There you go.
Well, of
Nothing
course.
like Joe's garlic bread.
Yeah.
Now that place is being sold. That's we should have. Let's do a special city talk. And,
This isn't too inside, is it?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because God forbid Paul goes for dinner and doesn't come to work the next day, smell like wine and garlic.
But I do get cocky about being from here just because no one is. You know,
Right.
And it's one of those things where you have deep city roots, but not that much. You know, everybody's talking about how the city's evolving and changing so drastically, and you see all these guys in Teslas buying buildings and
Right.
and
Yeah.
but I just be respectful. But I just saw, last night walking to Cobb's Comedy Club where I am tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
I
2
like
shows.
that. I like the way you worked
And
in. Yeah, nice.
There were 2 would-be homeless people making out by a garbage can outside of La Rocca's. That hasn't changed. And
Probably just still
Are
the
you
same
sure it
people.
wasn't inside La
La
Rocca's?
Rocca's, yeah. La Rocca's is a tough joint.
See, but now you're working in New York now, right? Or you were when you were at the
I
Daily
was
Show.
commuting back and forth, so I moved to L.A. 11 years ago. And then when I got the Daily Show gig, my kids were too old to just drag all over the country and come back, and I knew it
Right.
was sort of a temporary thing for me to go full-time, so I commuted back and
Oh,
forth.
wow.
So I was on
Wow.
a plane nonstop. My United miles, crazy.
Did San Francisco prepare you for New York at all?
I feel like I could walk down. I got punched across the face on Kearney by a homeless guy at 13 years old.
Wow.
I instigated that.
And
And
you say you have kids. How many kids you have?
I have 2 kids, 11 and 8. So
Yeah.
you can't drag them around. If your kids are little tiny guys, if you get a gig, you can take them wherever they
Right.
need to be. And if you're on a movie, and you can drag them all over the place. But you can't do that when they're 11 and 8. They got buddies and they're sports teams.
Yeah.
And so I told my son, I go, hey, I got a great opportunity in New York. And he looks at me. And he doesn't know what opportunity is. And I go, it's going to be good money for the family if I take this gig. Mm-hmm. And he puts his hand on my shoulder. This is at 9 years old. And he goes,
Yeah.
I don't care about the money. I just want you to be around all the time.
Wow.
How little did you feel?
And then I go, I looked at my gut reaction. I just go, I'll buy you an iPad too. And then it's like, all right, be careful on the subways. Watch out for the hobos. There's pickpockets everywhere.
So you have what, 2 sons? Or
A boy and a girl.
boy and a girl, yeah.
And then my daughter is 7. And the tough thing, and I'll tell this story if you come out. I think it's
Yeah.
the best story I've ever come up with. I wasn't even going to tell it because it implicates me in a crime. And that's it. That's just how it relates to my daughter.
All right.
But I was missing everything. I missed all of my daughter's dance recitals. I missed my son. My son is like Red Grange, like in football. He's so tiny
Right.
Yeah.
that he can't be stopped. I think he runs scared, and he just
That's a good way to play.
He flies
Like Grease
through.
Lightning, yeah.
He really is that
Yeah.
guy. So he scores 5 touchdowns in a game,
Wow.
pick 6s, and I missed an entire football season.
Yeah.
And so with that guilt, I go into, I'll leave you this, with my daughter's dance studio, a recital. I'd missed 4, and she said,
Yeah.
is Daddy going to miss another one of my dance recitals again this year?
Oh, God.
And people in the crowd always, and like, oh, what a horrible father.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, everybody, let's settle down. I'll slide a number to you, and we'll see what you missed. And everybody knows that's how Daddy pays for dance recitals.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Relax.
Yeah.
And I missed, they wouldn't let me watch a dress rehearsal for my daughter, and I just completely dad falling down snapped. So
Yeah.
if you do come to Cobb's Comedy Club, you get to hear. That's a teaser, folks.
Oh, there you go. I'm just kind of curious this, so we'll find out what crime you committed.
Yeah, exactly.
All
You want
right.
to hear?
You don't want to admit it on the air, though.
No, I tell it on stage, and
Yeah.
John Hodgman from The Daily Show
Yeah.
convinced me to tell the story because I was at lunch, and he goes, please tell me you're doing that on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
And I go, no, because I don't want to be implicated. And he goes, if who cares? Just go for it. Yeah, just do it.
So let me ask you now, being originally from San Francisco, is Cobb's going to be full of your relatives tonight?
Saturday night, because I'm half Mexican, half Sicilian, so the Tarantinos, the Balistraris.
Oh, jeez.
Everyone's going to be there. We got Cookie Balistrari coming. So I'm half Mexican, half Sicilian.
Yeah.
My uncles and cousins own the Capuros down at the wharf. The Tarantino.
Oh, yeah, great spot.
Yeah, so Paul Capurro.
But you don't have to suck up to him, Paul.
No, it's a
You
good
told me-
spot.
Told me you got
Capurro.
food poisoning down there. I'm just
Paul
joking.
Capurro right across from the Argonaut. So they, that whole wharf, my uncle Bob Tarantino wrote a book called Wharf Rat.
Yeah.
And so when the Aliotos and the Tarantinos came here, they were like, the Tarantinos were these low-level, like, sort of, like, fishmonger mob enforcers.
Yeah.
That would,
Like there's a high level.
no, that if you got in trouble,
Right.
like the Tarantino boys showed up with pipes in their hands.
Yeah.
And that's when I told my Uncle Bob where I was working at Cobb's, the old Cobb's in the cannery.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
This is a quote.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to control an alley right by there.
I'm thinking now when
You know
you
exactly what that is. Yeah, yeah.
when you have been with the Daily Show, did you work closely with Paul Mercurio at all, or was he gone?
Paul does the warm up for the show.
Because I'm thinking that you and Paul probably got along real well.
Well, Paul is he is just so Paul Mercurio does warm up for the show, and so he was always there. But he's a fixture. Like nobody warms up a crowd like Paul.
Yeah.
And so John has him around all the time. So he's been there. Paul Mercurio's been there pre-John.
But you guys must share stories left and right.
Oh yeah, as a comic being on the road, it's just one of those things where just weird stuff happens, just constantly, and so it's like going to war with somebody. So
Yeah.
I feel like I've gone to war with a lot of people.
Cobb's Comedy Club, tonight 2 shows, Saturday 2 shows. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
All right, Al.
One of the first minority members of the Olympic Club.
Is that right, really?
Yeah, when people would throw towels at me. Yeah. All right.
Cobb's Comedy Club, thanks for coming in.
Another fine product from Uranus.
That concludes the Lamont and Tonelli podcast. To hear more and everything Lamont and Tonelli, check out the website at lntworld.com.